KMB Office 55022 coffee break. We kind of delivered our effort. I think it's closed, and we will have a conversation. Consider maybe an invitation of Mr. Tyson Grease. I'm talking to you. I think that this is your name, correctly speaking, and we will check something like this. Let's try to use our model at your side of science. Once I was watching TV on the you know internet, and we have those videos with music about the universe, and one thing is about the concept just relativity or something like this, and it was considered that the time is slowed down. But since we have on mind the relativity, the time do not slow down, but the perception as time pacing that got kind of modified by the relativity as itself. It means the reference that exists, and the reference is related with something, but you with the perception that the time slowed down. And we had at the music another side saying that the light, it was all there, the the flow of light as transference. We use our model and have in mind something like this. We have two concepts. I was watching those crazy videos about the universe with my mama family relative, and kind of I was saying that I like the video because we have images and colors, and it's amazing. And sometimes we have that all things quantified by numbers, and has an identity by numbers. And if you can read this, it's something outstanding for sure, but in the same way, terrifying things. And we are watching the video about holes and those stars and those things. We have in mind that on mathematics we have two concepts, and there are two concepts that kind of I like very very much. The first one is the existence. The second one is something that do not exist. But inside this we have something which is everything as no existence, which it's not the same thing as do not exist. Kind of here they have opposite things, and we will consider, for instance, that here I have the sense as positive, the sense as negative, and considering that this is something which is not positive, this element will be something with the density as everything we have considered. Let's suppose the number 1 up to 200 as this entire thing minus this thing. It means that, for instance, if you have the entire universe but not considering one single element, which is something that has the existence, for instance, you can qualify this as a black hole. And if you have on mind that the black hole is kind of an empty space with no material inside, indeed we will consider that is this kind of thing is something that exists and the substance on it is the contrary sense as exist, you know, which do not means this thing as do not exist by concepts like this on math. In other words, we will consider that if we have our existence in a functional relation as first degree, considering number one, and the association by the density from 1, which is this thing, and have the entire thing as existence up to 200. Indeed, we will have this as an index of existence with a reversal thing, put ourselves in that situation as the very beginning, which is the existence of something 1 up to 200, and the contrary sense by the negative one, which I can consider my thing here. But if I observe the property as we had on mind in the very beginning of our conversation, that I must found a chart that I have no idea where I put this. It's something like this. It's here. You know, we will have the contrary sense as something like this. One up to 200, then the curve will be switched by the exponent, and the index as existent will be put u into something like this. And it's not a loop, but a different thing in a different reference on time and space. One up to 200. With a different perception on time and space. Put things here on one and observing that we kind of have the existence, which do not must be confused as not existence. Here we have a contrary sense as perception, and here I have the denied sense of existence, which give ourselves all things that has the perception by this contrary perception of things. It's something like this, something simple, but in the same way kind of have the description by numbers as universe. Simple, isn't it? It's one more time and we will finish the presentation dedicated to our friend Mr. Tyson Briggs. I will have the one as the single thing and the frequency as density, which is an atom or something like this, can be fully completed, as the universe as a unique version of something, and it's kind of the idea as existence. And the reversal sense of this, transforming this in an index, I will have the existence considering this index as function density up to 200. It's the existence. And the contrary thing will give me the possibility as existence, something like this by reference, and then we will check our model, the crosscut between everything we have and the opposite sense, which is everything that we do not have on our empty space. Positive and negative give me the idea as black hole. But black hole is an empty space that never got filled by something. Maybe by this movement that we had here, which is each single thing attracted by this black hole, which indeed is the sense of do not exist equally, the function density up to 200, which is the do not exist as itself. When had the attraction of things, it means that my sense as reversal thing brings the existence, indeed going little by little inside this space, but always unable to fill the empty space, because the thing, kind of do not get entirely completed as a universal, as single thing, I would say, or we will have this situation here. And when you will have your loop, indeed you kind of must erase this area, and kind of you will not loop again, because you kind of goes from the sense as do not exist to something oriented as existence. But when you are coming to the existence, indeed you have this perception as something that it's no sense as existence, which is this area here. And your black hole indeed is always an empty space, at least in a period, by this perception and model. And this is kind of a brainstorm, not my area, I only deciding the video. In other words, if we have our sense of existence as something pure, the reversal sense of this will be something like this, right? And the sense of the denied, I would say, existence will be all other forms accepting this. It means that you can have all things except this, which is the complementarity of this situation. And then we will always have an empty space, because can be filled by the existence if the contrary sense of existence is the essence of this material, I would say, as black hole. In other words, and one more time, having our model, we will check that the existence as a single number 100% with the density up to 200 will have the contrary sense by the exponent -1, and the exponent -1, which is the contrary sense, I would say that will be something that exists with the contrary sense, it's equal to do not exist. Is this confirmed? But considering the reference as the side that we observe, indeed the denied existence indeed is something that exists, but not as a contrary sense of existence. Can you get? And then we will check that in the same way the identity as property, the contrary sense of something that do not exist, not necessarily will imply the contrary sense as something that exists. For instance, if you have the sense of exist as something like this, investment saving curve, and the contrary sense by the movement of your curve as liquidity money, which is the not existence as real asset. If you deny this sense of curve, indeed we will have everything as this curve, but presented as something like this. And they will have the kind of that idea on vectorial algebra, which I think that is the concept as equivalent or something like this. It has the sense, you have the direction, and you have, I think, that the intensity of things. The sense is kind of the orientation, which can be up and down. The direction is something forward or backward. And the intensity is that element that never until this time on science will be able to fill an empty space by the energy expended to achieve or be inside this space, even as an attraction. And we come to that point, which is the function density up to 200. When you come to 200, indeed you have the sense as I would say, for a simple way, back to the origin, but not back to the origin as itself, but having the origination of things as something that can be existence, something that can be not existence, and a deeper level of to both as which isn't the existent and which isn't the not existent. And then we are having the limit here to research always by Bayesian approach. It's static control. "20 minutes, we'll finish here, not my area, just a coffee break, and we will back to our family videos about the universe, description by math, I would say. So, have a nice weekend.